Two people charged in the UK as KC luxury cocaine investigation expands. Now, following the arrest of Nigerian social media influencer Afolabi Kazim Michael, popularly known as KC Luxury, more details are now emerging about the international side of this cocaine investigation. So within this time frame, two Nigerians have been charged in the UK with cocaine-related charges. But let us correct something very important in this conversation. The two people in the UK were not arrested after KC Luxury. The arrest actually came earlier, following a separate cocaine seizure in Britain. What is important here is that both Nigeria and the UK authorities are now investigating cocaine seizures of almost the same size and also the possible connection between the operations. Now, the two people charged in the UK are 50-year-old Olajupopo Antadara and 44-year-old Latifat Yusuf. They were arrested after the British authorities seized more than 180 kilograms of cocaine in the UK on the 5th of August 2026. The both of them were charged with international drug trafficking offenses and they appeared before Barkingside Magistrate Court on 8 August. Both of them were remanded in custody and expected to appear next on 7 September 2026. Now, this is where the Nigerian side becomes interesting because prior to this time, on August 3rd, Nigerian authorities intercepted 184.5 kilograms of cocaine, which was hidden in brown boxes at a Korea logistics facility in Lagos. Now, this shipment was reportedly intended for the United Kingdom, and the NDLEA is saying that the wider network also moved drugs to other parts of Europe and Asia. The cocaine in Nigeria was valued for 39 billion naira. Now, Lawal Kinde, a worker at the logistics company, was arrested for his alleged part in helping to package and route the cocaine consignments. Meanwhile, investigators identified KC Luxury as the alleged Nigerian arrowhead of this cartel. But the question now is, are these two people charged in Britain directly part of KC Luxury's alleged network? The answer remains that this has not been publicly established. But for now, the Metropolitan Police specifically said that the charges against Antadara and Yusuf relate to the UK cocaine seizure. But inquiries are continuing into their similar-sized cocaine seizure in Nigeria. And this is what makes the story bigger than just the arrest of a Nigerian social media influencer. Because right now we have 180 kg of cocaine seized in Britain and 184.5 size seized in Lagos, Nigeria. And both people have been charged and remanded in the UK, while arrest has also been made in Nigeria. But the investigation between the authorities, between the UK authorities and the Nigerian authorities are ongoing. So the question at this point is much bigger than KC Luxury. The bigger question is, how far does this network go? Who else is involved? And would the investigators be able to establish a direct connection between the Nigerian and UK seizures? For now, those questions remain part of the ongoing investigation. It is a truth at a time. Take care and have a nice day.
I'm not a president, I'm no big deal, but I'm someone who's just trying. And if my efforts don't yield any results, I'm more than happy to say one day that at least I tried, and then I'll step back and allow other people to try. So for those who feel like they are hard done, or they feel like the efforts that have been put in or the decisions that are made are not to their satisfaction, we note your dissatisfaction, we appreciate your input, and we can only just do what we can do. But we're a movement. We're not a political party. There's no joining fee. There's no leaving fee. So you're welcome to just disassociate with us, and we will continue to just try our best to make sure that we do what we feel needs to be done.
I think looking at the developments in South Africa, it raises some few questions about how we continue to manage our countries and our economies. And you realize that since, I think, around 2016, 2017, when Donald Trump was campaigning to be president in the US and coming up with this analogy that is putting America first, to an extent that now he's making it a reality in his second term when he came into the office in January last year. And you find him ordering people out. People are being deported back to their countries, especially those that were undocumented in those in the states of America. And then you realize that every other country has started to look inwards. I think it's just a matter of time before you realize that every other country, even on the African continent, will begin to take care of its own population first. If you're to look at the setup in South Africa, then reflect on the setup in Kenya, for instance. We are home. We accommodate a lot of people from neighboring countries that are unstable. If you're talking about our neighbors from across, whether it's in Somalia, whether it's in South Sudan, whether it's Sudan itself, whether it's Burundi, whether it's DRC, you have many populations of members of those countries staying here. Again, if you're to reflect on what South Africa is, look at the economy. It's about 57 trillion shillings versus Kenya's about 17.6 trillion shillings based on the KNBS numbers. So the South African economy, which is the biggest in Africa, is 3 times that of Kenya. They are having challenges of unemployment, I think rates of up to 30%. You're talking about poverty levels that are also significant. If you're to look at those people that live under $2 a day, they have significant numbers. You have that situation of unemployment. Never mind that the economy, based on the metric of gross domestic product, the GDP that we like to talk about when you're comparing different economies, it is working on that side. But when it comes to the common man, it's not working. If you compare that situation to Kenya, yes, we are not xenophobic, but the realities of our economies are almost the same in terms of the people that would appear or would feel left behind. Now, it is unfortunate that those in South Africa start to believe that they are suffering or they are struggling because people from other countries have come into the economy, because I think there's also that question of Pan-Africanism and globalization that has been a trend over the many decades post the World War II. But then it's a point for political leaders to start to think, because every time that you're charging people towards a certain agenda, to vote for certain political ideologies, to vote for certain economic policies, what is the thought process in regards to bringing everyone on board to make sure that you're not leaving some behind? Because if you do, if you have a consistent or persistent levels of poverty, you're going to find yourself in certain situations. It may not be xenophobia about chasing out people from other countries. It may also be class wars in the communities, in the societies that we live in. So I think this is a wake-up call, not just for South Africa, but African countries, including Kenya itself, to think about these disparities that we continue to witness. I think the sort of way that we've been running our economies is not sustainable if we are to have the cohesion that you would expect to be happening when you're looking into the future of these countries.
And you know, the disparities, particularly in South Africa, are even more glaring considering their apartheid.
Jacinta Zuma is one brilliant girl. I honestly misunderstood your strategy. And when I'm wrong, I will say I am wrong. Rest of Africa, I am sorry. I'm sorry you're not going to like this video, but the truth must be said. March and March movement was the best thing that ever happened to South Africa.
South Africa wants the governments of Malawi, Nigeria, and Ethiopia to reimburse it for the cost of sending thousands of their citizens back home.
This is genius. We said Abahambe, they hambered. And then we hit them with the invoice. We said, hi Africa, please pay your invoice within 30 days. And these Nigerians who thinks that they are smart, they said, come to Abuja and collect your money. We send our Minister of Foreign Affairs. This President Tinubu, he doesn't want to meet them. He said, no, I'm a big boy. I don't meet with collections agents. The audacity. And then we send an invoice to Malawi. And Malawi said, no, Bushiri is our spokesperson. And then Bushiri said, by the grace of God, we are surviving.
If South Africans can please send their tithes and their offering, maybe, if God permits, we'll do something. And the worst part, Zimbabwe, they're telling us, no, we have our own problems. We have sanctions that we are dealing with. Leave us out of it. Excuse me, when your whole country is in South Africa? South Africa, you are brilliant. I give you your flowers. I mean, we ordered abahambe and we forgot who's paying the delivery. So let's continue. And next time we say abahambe, let's just check the terms and conditions. Because hate apparently has shipping and handling fees. Well done, my fellow South A. Well done. Now, go and fight me in the comments. I finally agree with you. And you, rest of Africa, do not